Welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the slight delay. We're just getting everything all set up and prepared and ready, as is the norm with things. We are the Indie Brothers, and today we're going to be diving on in and doing a deep dive on Chefsquad as one of our members. Has a pretty big part to play in that. I'm your host today, Bumpy McSquigums, joined by a Tiny Disaster and Cupogoodness. Hello, folks. How are you doing?
Hello, hello.
Hey, how's it going, Bumpy?
It is going, it's going all right. It's going all right. So, Chefsquad. So, one of the three of us, it's not me, actually worked on this. Does anyone want to take credit for that?
I will, and I would take credit for it even if I didn't. But if that, the fact is, it's the truth. It's the truth. I'm the production manager for Vertigo Gaming Inc. They were the developers of Cook Serve Delicious, and this was our first game in 10 years that we released that was not called Cook Serve Delicious. So something 1, 2, or 3. So this was a big, not like the biggest step away, right? It's still a cooking game, and hi puppers, and Tiny Disasters puppers. We'll be talking about that as well during the stream today, hopefully a few times. But yeah, so it's not like a major step away from the games that we've done in the past, but there are obviously some major differences from the Cook Serve Delicious series that I thought would be interesting to talk about today. Maybe not. This could be all like, hubris right now, and this next hour and a half is just proving how dumb I am about the situation.
If we make it comedical, it could be humorous hubris. And I think that works.
As long as it's good content, that's all that matters to me. So.
All right, so I'm gonna take a stab at explaining what Chefsquad is, and when I'm wrong, Cup can correct me. So I've played it. I got a chance to get my hands on it and play it with my chat a few times, and it was fun. In fact, everyone that I've spoken to that has either played it in chat or has played it out of chat has actually really liked it and really enjoyed their time. So that's always a glowing endorsement. But essentially, it is a Twitch-centric, i.e. you need to be a Twitch streamer if you really want to get the most out of it. It has Twitch integration, which most games don't have. And you take on the role or the part of the head chef, and essentially your chat joins you by keyboard commands. And they're going to be cooking the food for you. They're going to be going in, typing all these different things. You're going to be telling them, hey, Cupogoodness, I need you over here making this burger patty. Hey, a tiny disaster, I need you to deal with the lettuce. And you basically, as the head chef, put them into these various different spots, and then all these commands will start popping up. They'll go, all right, I'm going to do lettuce, and they'll enter the command to start the lettuce prompt. And then there's 3 or 4 prompts that come up after that, and when they're done, they go back into the chef pool. You can play with 5 to 25 people from your chat, and if you're short at any point, or you want more, say you have 5 people and you want like 15, you can actually add bots in to make up the difference. So it requires, again, Twitch. You tie your Twitch account to it, and then you dive in and you begin. So, is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, totally. You did a great job describing it. I mean, the one thing I always like to mention is that it's an asymmetrical co-op game, which I think is kind of rare. Just like any kind of asymmetrical multiplayer game. So it's like, one person is in charge of essentially the distribution of everybody else.
Yeah, it would be akin to something along the lines of maybe you have someone in, let's say, like a first-person genre. Maybe you're doing like a first-person co-op shooting thing. So you're sending people into like an FPS game. So you have somebody who has like an overhead tactical view. You're like, all right, Team Alpha, go ahead and breach the door over here, and then Team Beta jump through this, and you're kind of commanding the squad.
Essentially, God view or general view. Sorry, go ahead.
I haven't played Chefsquad yet, but I feel like it's going to be very similar to an experience I had playing couch co-op Overcooked with friends. Well, a 5th person wanted to play, so they just bossed us around from behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this case, the Gordon Ramsay gets to kind of get a little bit more involved in terms of placement, but otherwise, it's just up to the chat to pull off the moves in time. Essentially, a series of words that need to be typed out. Or I should call them commands because they have the exclamation point ahead of them each time. It would take maybe about half a game to kind of get used to if you haven't played before. I think that usually was what I've seen in the chats I've seen in the streams and such. but once people get into it, they really dig it, and I didn't know if people would, honestly. I think that this is something that it's a small experiment from us. It is not a big risk for us, but it was just something that we thought, we have no clue how this is going to do. We're not sure if the people are going to take to this very much in terms of the actual enjoyment of the gameplay. Is it like a novelty like thing, or do people actually enjoy trying to play through the game? And what we're seeing is, I think it's the latter, which is really satisfying.
I think as an idea, on like just alone, it's phenomenal. I'm not as familiar with like what else is happening in like Twitch integration in the game space, so like what other things this is comparable to. I have not seen anything like this, and I think it's incredible.
So it definitely seems like an underserved market right now.
Yeah.
So like, just in general, that's a good thing if you're a developer looking to like kind of get into a market that might not be as crowded. The problem is that how do you monetize something like this, and that's something that we as a company are still figuring out ourselves, and how do we do it in a way that's all right with everybody? You know what I mean? We don't want to obviously make anybody mad, make any of our player base or community like upset with any additions of like in-app purchases. That would be sort of
okay. I think there's a lot more we can talk about that there, but we should probably like go in order. So in terms of like Q&A for you today, do you want to talk a little bit about how this idea came to be? Like, where did this come from?
Before you dive into that, I just wanted to mention, basically the way you described it, you said you came up with the idea, you guys came up with the idea, you're like, we're going to put this out, you're not sure who's really going to enjoy it, so on and so forth. That actually sounds almost word for word from what I heard from the creator of Duskers, actually. Very similar. He's like, he had this idea, he came up with the game, and he's like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if anybody's going to want to play it. I might be crazy, but this is something that came to me, and I decided to go with it. And as far as Twitch integration goes, I mean, I have not played every game known to man. I do play quite a bit. The only other Twitch integrated game that I've personally played was One Troll Army, and I can't think of any of the others that I've played that I've seen. I know there's ways to do Twitch integration where you can like tie it to like keyboard commands. You were telling me something about somebody was playing Hunt Showdown, and they had commands you can put in that would just like disable your mouse or make you look down or something like that. But that's like a third-party thing. That's not tied directly to the game. So
yeah, it's a different kind of program that does that. But that's some of the Twitch integration that that's some of the stuff that we're seeing in 2021 in terms of how to play, games through Twitch. How to interact with your Twitch. It's almost like the interaction with the streamer is what's important from the chat, right? So when the idea, I think, came from One Troll Army. You said I've not heard of that game. I should check that out because
it's a few years old at this point. Yeah,
the game that we saw that was like kind of hitting some streams, like wholesome streams that people wanted to interact with chat a little bit more, have a little bit more of giving chat something to do as opposed to just being in chat. Was Marbles on Stream, and that's on Steam right now, and it's got a trailer and all that, and it's very simple. It doesn't give the player or the chat player, a whole lot of control. I don't even think it gives you any control actually, and so it's just.
I've seen this before.
I think it's actually just labeling you as a marble.
Yeah, they just they all get launched, and then you hope
just get launched, and you hope. Yeah. Exactly, and so there's very little control for the player in that. It's just something that it's like a step above just being in chat, right? It's like, oh, cool, I'm on the screen now, I'm a marble. There was something. It's cute, right? It's cute, but it was like we could make a better game than this. Like we could make something that's like a little bit more in depth. With where the chat actually gets to do something. And it really came from the idea that we felt like streamers were like not desperate, but like they were really looking and eager for opportunities to interact with their chats in new and different ways than what they usually do.
Chatting at you, yeah, exactly.
Right, and it's a way to kind of strengthen the bond, I think, between chat and streamer, like these kind of games.
Well, and
because you get that
co-op. I don't think anything's been co-op yet that I've seen. It's even Marbles, you're kind of competing, whether it's physics based or not. And One Troll Army, essentially you're a troll and you got stuff that's gonna spawn, but then chat can dive in and they like take over. Well, they don't get to do too much, but they basically spawn stuff, and they have like options that they can choose of what to do to make things harder and more challenging for you. It was a tiny build game, so.
Yeah, and I think it's like those kind of games are just really too few and far between right now. And I think additionally, not a lot of like really seriously good developers are looking into the space like maybe they could be. Not that I'm saying that it's like a for sure kind of space. You know, we're just kind of dipping our toe in and kind of see how it's going as well. But so far, we're getting better exposure, and we're getting like publishing and label partner interest in terms of the initial launch, which basically we did as a surprise, and we'll get into that when we get a chance to. But basically, it was all just rolled out very quickly, not quite unceremoniously, but it was like one day of like, here we're releasing this thing, and we did it, and it was out, and it's free. So it doesn't cost anything to purchase or anything. So we actually debated not even releasing it on Steam. But we went back and forth on that. Well, it was like, what's the point? You know, it all generates through Twitch.
Yeah.
So even if it wasn't on Steam, yeah, well, I mean, I understand because of Steam libraries and things like that.
Well, not just that. I mean, it's the largest audience. Like, you're going to reach more people if you release on Steam, no matter what.
Right, so we thought maybe soft launch it, like on like itch, and just see if it even hit a blip on the radar kind of thing.
The only one I would have maybe suggested if it wasn't just Steam was Twitch has their own games that they like. You get free games with Prime and all that stuff. So Twitch has its own like store or library. That would be the only one.
Unfortunately, talks just didn't kind of work out with them on it didn't. It's not like it didn't work out. It just didn't coalesce. Like it just didn't ever kind of happen.
That's weird. They're like, hey, we're making this game that requires your platform. Nah, we're not interested. What?
It's a proof of concept game, right?
Yeah.
We haven't. This is our first ability to say, hey, we can do this. And so I think a lot of potential partners that wanted to work with us were like, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the release, and we'll react accordingly. And now some partners are reacting accordingly and getting back in touch with us. So it's cool. We knew it was kind of this kind of going out on a limb kind of thing, and it wasn't gonna be a big deal financially if we failed. So it meant nothing to us if it didn't work out. You know what I mean? Like our feelings weren't gonna be too hurt, maybe a little bit, but we'd get over it. So we were ready to put this out there and just see what happened, and that's kind of where we're at right now. And again, it's not like it's like exploded or anything, but it's catching on a little bit, and we have had some nice spikes. And streamers of all ilk, small, medium, large, and different kinds of folks checking out the game. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah. I think stuff like this where you're surprise releasing, like exploding in a couple weeks is never a realistic trajectory. I think this is going to be something that very much snowballs, which is cool.
It could be a slow burn as well. We're just wondering if, as we're building momentum, does it ever, crest where we don't expect it to, and it drops off. And that's like that from a marketing, production manager perspective. That's something I'm keeping my eye on, because it's like you never know when the tides will shift and people will just move on. Right now, it still seems like it's catching new streamers, like new people are discovering it. Like, because it's not again, it's been really highly promoted in some spaces and really like no promotion at all in other spaces. Like we haven't had a ton of traditional press on the game at all. Like it's just not been mentioned that much on like
Greetings,
websites.
Exiled and Zuby, welcome to the stream.
Yeah, glad to have you all in. Hopefully we can play some Chefsquad together here in a little bit.
Hopefully we can. All right, so we have a format. Totally aware of what that
Question like a while ago. Come on. Back to the beginning. Where did this come from?
Yes.
I said that. Like we were looking at marbles on stream. We were seeing that like there's an opportunity in a space where the games itself weren't that complex. Not that we needed to make a complex game, but that we could make something like a little more in depth than what we've seen so far offered in the space. And we saw that Twitch streamers were like really, like needing something to do with their chat. Like it's like this is such a it's a niche, but it's an underserved niche, and I bet you if we make a good game for that. We also thought, hey, regardless of how it goes, we'll just feed this right back into we plug Chefs Cook Serve Delicious 3 in the game itself, There's a whisk and cleaver splash page after, I believe, each day. Yeah. Where it shows Julia, who's the main chef in Chefsquad, working with Whisk and Cleaver, and it's like, check out Quick Serve Delicious 3. So it's like a promotion agent as well. Like,
more of my take on the question of like, once you had that initial idea, where did tying it into like your existing Cook Serve Delicious and like how you built up what you wanted it to be beyond, like you knew what the mechanic would be, but like tying it into something that you already had. Kind of, where did that come from?
Well, like our long-term vision is to like obviously have the Cook Serve Delicious series be a bedrock for our company, but not the only thing in our company that represents us. And so, without taking too huge of a leap away from Cook Serve Delicious by staying in the cooking genre, by that I mean, obviously, just hey, the Cook Serve Delicious developers released a new game called Chefsquad. There's some legitimacy to that, right? Like people are going to go like, cool, I have faith that it's going to be an enjoyable game based on the Cook Serve Delicious series. You know what I mean? And so we knew we didn't want to just do some other Twitch integration game that was not necessarily, cooking related. We didn't want to just make that
a very clever direction to go in. So
right, because we wanted to change the name. We wanted it to be something not Cook Serve, but we also wanted to, keep that legitimacy that we already had built up. Because at some point we are going to take the leap off the high dive, Bumpy, and release a game that is not in the genre, not the cooking genre, not in the, anything to do with Cook Serve Delicious, and it's not going to be called, anything to do with, the title's not going to have anything to do with Cook Serve Delicious. But when that time comes, we have to be insulated with feeling good about our current situation financially and stuff. That's the idea. So we're building that bridge, essentially, not away from Cook Serve Delicious, but just giving us other options to kind of branch out, I suppose. Not a bridge, but more of a branching tree sort of thing. So this was like, it's just like, oh cool, it's a little project. It did not take nearly as, it took maybe at full time, it would probably have taken us 3 months. It took us longer because we had a part-time programmer on it. But if we had him on full time, we would have been able to do it in a matter of like, a quarter of a year. And most of our games typically take like 12 to 18 months to develop. So manpower and cost were very low on this game, and we did put out some decent money for the artists. We paid for, because the graphic design, we got a very specific graphic design that we really enjoyed, aesthetic, and the art, the way it was done. All came together really nice to give this nice, like kind of like 70s theme, game show kind of feel to it. Or not game show, but like, like a cooking show kind of game show kind of thing, like that we have nowadays. So it was something that we've just been, we had in mind for a little bit. And then this last year we implemented it because we were between Cook Serve Delicious 3 and our next game in the Cook Serve series that we haven't announced yet, and I can't say any more than that. But it's long enough out that we had this little, pocket of space, I guess, in the middle of our 2021, that we were able to put some manpower into creating this idea that David had come up with this Twitch integration. The chef game through Twitch integration and such. So when he was first pitching it to me, I was like, okay, like I wasn't sure, you know what I mean? Again, like I trust David implicitly with his ideas. And so I was just like, I just have to keep seeing this and how it develops and how it works out. And of course, we eventually got to the point where it had been developed where we could start testing it and seeing what other people. We had our taste testers, which is our Cook Serve Delicious testing group. We call it the taste testers, and they helped us out and kept it private, but helped us out in terms of seeing how the game plays, balancing it, making it, because it's a 50-day game and it gets progressively harder every day. So we wanted it to have that Cook Serve Delicious difficulty balanced, right, Bumpy, that we always have, I think, to the Cook Serve Delicious games as well.
Balance, you say.
Well,
it starts off easier.
Where it feels, if it should never feel unfair, but rather, we could have gotten this. We needed to just tighten up the ship a little bit. That's how it should feel if you don't get that perfect day.
I'm going to call it now. It's the branching out one's going to be called something like Race Break Turbo or something, or Nitrous.
Yeah, that's right. We can never let go of like the three words in a row with the double comma or whatever. Yeah, the exclamation points. Like they're like, that's clearly the Cooks Are Delicious developers, right? Exactly. Yeah. So it really just. I hope that I hope I don't feel like I hope you don't feel I'm like skirting the question here, Tiny Disaster, because I feel like I've answered it, but if I haven't, like
before. I guess there's a lot of different parts of this that I'm curious about. So it's interesting, and like that's why we were really excited to do this chat in the first place, of getting to do like a real deep dive into the development side of things. Because from the Indie Bros, we've mostly handled the marketing side, but you see a lot of the development side, and this is a case where we can really talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, absolutely. I don't want to tread over anything that I've already treaded over, but we can keep going in different directions. What questions do we want to get to next, or we can try to play the game right at this moment. Whatever you two feel is the right thing at this point.
I think we should keep talking for now. I
feel right.
Like as we get more folks stopping in, maybe when we hit hopefully a peak a little bit later down the road would be the ideal time to play. So,
alrighty.
Obviously, you decided you were going to go ahead and you mentioned this as part of your answer with what Tiny Disaster said. You were going to stay in we're doing cooking games right now. That's the series that we're focusing on. You decided you wanted to do something a bit different. You had this extra time and you went with Chefsquad. And of course, you're like, well, let's go with a cooking game that has Twitch integration. I'm assuming it was Cupogoodness, aka David. His idea to make it a Twitch-only game. What was the thought behind that, and what have the challenges been, other than just what everybody has challenges with them all the time, and that's just visibility?
Right. I mean, the thought was this: if we're going to do a Twitch integration game, it probably has to be Twitch only. We felt like because that was the major streaming platform at the time. Now. It doesn't mean we can't eventually look into maybe doing a version that you could run on Discord, and do like a community, do like a stream via your Discord, like we're doing, like we could be doing in our Discord chat now, right? Like you could stream something, Bumpy and Tiny Disaster, and I could watch that. We don't have that integrated yet, but we could essentially create it so that you could have like the chat commands work in Discord. And then we would potentially look at maybe like YouTube as well, because they have a streaming platform as well. But at the time, we just said, let's focus on Twitch. Let's focus on the platform that we know that is the biggest. And it's no secret, Cupogoodness is into Twitch. He likes a lot of the streamers on there. He's like a good supporter of them and has always been, an active Twitch like kind of member and chatter and all that kind of stuff. So I think that it comes from some of his passion for the platform and like kind of the friends and streamers and other folks that he's met through his interactions on Twitch as well. So it's I'm
still waiting for the day to see him show up on my chat. I haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, he's a real sandbagger on that. He won't come in my chat either. He just wants to go to the big ones with all the people in him and stuff. So yeah, son of a gun. But no, I mean he's really into Twitch in general, and so. I think what I mentioned earlier, Tiny Disaster, about like he was the one who really saw firsthand, hey, these streamers want to do something here with their chat more than they're able to right now. Like they're just so limited. And if you know, excuse me, sorry, if like a long-term streamer, if you've been in their chat like day in and day out, it's kind of samey, right? Like it's hard to break from some of the norm of what a Twitch streamer and their chat end up being. Like it's just always like, oh hey, thanks for the 64-month sub, blah blah blah, and it's just like it gets into this like kind of pattern of monotony. I don't know, like it's not like, again, I think everybody's enjoying themselves to some extent, but to get a game like Chefsquad just mixes it up a little bit for them. It gives them something that like stirs the drink a little bit for that relationship of the streamer and their chat.
Oh, 100%. That's part of why I got so excited about this idea, because I do a weekly YouTube stream talking about publishing and books with some friends, and we do a quarterly game night where those of us on stream will play something. And this past week, even we tried to like incorporate our regulars playing One Night Ultimate Werewolf on like an online platform, but it's always so unbalanced because it's not built for it. Of like it's a social deduction game kind of thing. So those of us on stream can like defend ourselves and accuse people, whereas people in chat, we tried and it was fun, but there's nothing built for that. So it was really cool to be able to like, because it's all the people who show up to game nights are the people who show up regularly, and the people that we know, and so it was a lot of fun. And I'm excited to see this space expand. So.
Yeah, because I mean, Bumpy and I play Jackbox. Sometimes it's fun to get the audience involved, but even then, it's limiting to what they can do versus actually what the players can do in the situation, which is at times is fine. But other times, it's like it would be cool if they could actually play along. And some of the games maybe do have that accessibility, but most of them don't. And it's just kind of like, if there was like a full integration for this, like Jackbox is really pretty well integrated with Twitch and such, but there are things that you're wishing if they were a little more focused on having chat fully integrated to play the game, that would be that much more interesting, I think, to people, streamers and their chats.
Yeah, one of the games I would continually cycle in, and it's probably why I still play it to this day. It's fun. I mean, you don't particularly like it because I beat you up all the time in that cup, but Brawlhalla, because it's just something. It's free to play. Anyone can play it. Just dive in and join. Now, granted, you get those sharks that are out there just waiting. See somebody pop up on stream, they want to go and try to beat the streamer and prove, and just trying to have fun, right? So I like the idea of folks that are like regulars, letting them come along for something extra special. If you're going to be able to play a game with multiple people and it's accessible to them, it helps. And this is basically the game is what Chefsquad is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yet I feel like there's a lot of different opportunities for different kinds of games in this space. It doesn't just have to be this and that's it. You know what I mean? And I mean that both coming from Vertigo, and we're thinking about other, kind of stream games as well. And also, I encourage and hope other, developers are getting into the space or considering the space. In addition to, the standard commercial releases that I think they are our bedrock and the most important thing for our company. But this is giving us an opportunity to branch out and provide, revenue and financial bedrock for us in a way that just feels more secure, just to have, more than one, having eggs in more than one basket, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. So while we, as the Indie Brothers in general, we handle Vertigo Gaming's PR and marketing and all that stuff. I myself, and I'm pretty sure at Tiny Disaster, we don't actually, a lot of it's segmented off. Other members do certain things. Well, we all have our specialties, right? We all do different things when it comes to that. What, if any, kind of outreach and PR did we do for this game? Because like you said, you decided to be like, hey, we're doing this game, it's coming out tonight, and that was it, which is just weird and unheard of in general. Like, it's just not something that is done. So why? I guess is my question.
It kind of soft launches it in a way when you do that. Like you kind of say, regardless of how this goes, we're gonna. Well, actually, not regardless. You're like, we're gonna see how this goes, and we're going to react accordingly. Is kind of how that was gonna, like, the whole thought process was. It didn't make sense for us to pour a lot of weeks and weeks of like promotion ahead of time on this, knowing that we were either going to be limiting the people that could play it to a certain number, or it was just basically like it was out because we were providing codes for everybody. You know what I mean? If we're providing codes to everybody who asks for it, why isn't it just out at that point? You know what I mean? Like, because again, it's a free game, that kind of thing. And so it might build up some critical mass, but what are we getting wish lists for more people to download a free game? So it wasn't like a commercial financial situation where we're like, okay, we need to have these 25,000 wish list minimum so that we know we can convert this many, to get this much revenue. There was no consideration on that front.
Did you launch the store page that day? That was the announcement, like, hey, this is going to be a thing. Was that when the store page went live?
That's right. Yeah, and obviously I'd never do that with a commercial product.
All right.
We're trying to pull in sales and such.
So I have a counterpoint. I could be wrong. Again, I don't know anything. But so let's see. You said, I'm trying to think exactly what you said. You didn't want to send out a bunch of codes, for instance, and there was no reason because this can be a free-to-play game and everything else. One of the things, and this goes for content creators across the board, one of the things that we look for, we strive for, and we try to do is we have to be first. Oftentimes, always, that's the struggle, is to be amongst the first. You want to be able to get your hands on a game before the masses, because the people that actually go and they reach out and they hook up with people like the Indie Brothers, they hook up with the PR people at specific companies and so on and so forth. They build that relationship, they get the codes early, and there's usually an embargo date. So I'm a little worried that there was a slight missed opportunity there, and I know again, low stakes, right? That's what you guys are saying with this and everything else, but maybe reaching out just a couple days ahead of time and maybe doing that extra might have caught the eye of some larger streamers, as opposed to, oh, this game came out, what is, oh, it looks cool, but here's 2-3 days later they heard about it. And I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
So one thing that mitigates that a little bit, which you didn't know about, is that we were committed to having Julia be the first. What if Julia be the first person to stream the game as like the big launch kind of moment? So that kind of muddled any. It's not as if I didn't have my conversations with David about, hey, should we get this in the hands of people early? Should this go public? We actually did have multiple streamers, including you actually, play the game ahead of time before it released, but we just had no publicity on that whatsoever. Right. We asked the stream. We had Kate Lovely Momo, who is Northern Lion's wife, also do it on her stream and a couple other streams as well. And it went over extremely well. It just was like very insulated to the moment, luckily.
Yeah,
and
if you were on the stream.
Yeah, if you were there, you got interacted and stuff like that. But there was no real like, if you typed in Chefsquad on Google, you wouldn't find it anywhere, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So it was still kind of like hidden away, that kind of stuff. So we liked that. I don't mind taking that, what you mentioned, out of the equation for this particular game.
Right.
The idea of because we knew that this, unlike a commercial release, we knew that Twitch streamers would have to discover this and try it themselves and come to their own conclusions about it themselves. So we didn't want to necessarily muddy those waters either. We wanted to release it like fresh and say, okay, here is something for you, Twitch streamers. What do you think? Like, kind of thing, as opposed to having a lot of setups and a lot of people kind of pushing and influencing. Like with CSD3, we actually got, I think, like 24 sponsored streams set up, which is a lot. Yeah. And across like multiple weeks of time. With Chefsquad,
you had a few, right? You had more than just What If Julia? There was a few others that.
With Chefsquad, we had, I think, 2 or 3. There may have been, but most of the ones that we went to sponsor, a lot of them just said, "Forget it, we'll just cover it," and we said thank you. You know what I mean? So that was awesome. But with with Julia, and then we had Nega Oryx this last weekend do a sponsored stream, and I think that you mentioned there might have been one other one, but it wasn't something where we wanted to really shape how everybody wanted, or shape the narrative, I guess, about it. We really wanted streamers in general to go, what? And really? And then try it.
Here, out into the wild. Good luck.
And again, proof of concept, right, Bumpy? So we have more games in the back pocket that we can do the full, all the bells and whistles for, if it makes sense to, if this first one, like David says, I'm going to push this one off the cliff and then we'll see if it flies or if it dies. You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of the thought with this one. We didn't want to put too much behind it, knowing that we hadn't even proven to ourselves, what it was. Quick Serve Delicious 2 and 3, that's automatic. We already knew what we had, and we knew we were going to, push that out. And we wanted to, make a bunch of revenue off of it as well. You know what I mean? This one, we were like, hey, if we can find a way to make revenue off of this, great. If we don't, not a big deal. We at least push into this space and to explore and see if there's something there, like as a business side of things. And if not, then at least we made a lot of people happy. And seemingly in the last week or two, a lot of people enjoyed the game. So that's like, to us, a victory in itself. And whatever happens here is sort of icing on the cake and may actually help us form our long-term business plan in a way that we never expected to before this year. So that's interesting.
I do think the whole thing's really interesting. I'm trying to think of like other examples of like last minute surprise releases in anything, and like all I've come up with is Beyonce and Taylor Swift. So clearly a very different dynamic.
Their mobile games tend to release like that. They tend to drop on the spot because they're trying to game this algorithmic thing on the App Store a lot of times. I can't remember the exact example, but it was like there was a full, what is this going on? It was like, again, it's the contrarian to what everybody expects to happen, which is an announcement months ahead or even a year ahead. And then, more announcements forthcoming that provide more information, build up more hype, essentially, and your momentum is supposed to be riding into launch and such. Dropping something out of nowhere, there's the most recent precedent is the shadow drops that you commit to if you take up Nintendo on their offers with their Switch shadow drops, which essentially shadow dropping is you do not get to announce your game is coming out that day. You do not get to announce your game is coming out at all. It's just you can maybe have it saying coming out soon or something like that, and then boom, it's on Switch after it gets announced as a release as part of what's Nintendo Switch's Nintendo Direct, I believe it was what they're called. And Indie, and I think Indie World is another one that they have, and those two events, obviously very exclusive for indie developers to try to get into. If you get into there's a heavy amount of promotion. But it's a gamble, right? It's a gamble to say, I believe Nintendo as a platform and as their social media pushes go and as them as a notable platform is going to be able to push enough behind this release to mitigate all the marketing and PR that we're not going to do ahead of time for it. So it's Whitethorn has been through that a couple of times, and that's actually paid off for, I believe, both Evans Remains and Calico a lot. So it's but it's not to say that it works for every game. And I think that the more shadow drops occur, the less effective they'll become, if that makes sense. I think diminishing returns will take place if shadow drops become the norm, and you see shadow drops happening every quarter or every 6 months or whatever. At some point, similar to maybe like the Humble Bundle situation, Bumpy, people will just be like, that's the norm. And then people don't care about it as much.
I think it might end up being a bit of a changing dynamic, because there's something to be said for marketing a game from day one where it's available and not having to worry about people being interested and then remembering to come back.
Right, you have a buy button right away. That's nice.
It could evolve differently than we expected to. It'll be interesting to see.
And that was the other thing. It was like, okay, do we just want to release this, or do we want to do the announcement the day of? And we felt that it was good to give people at least some preparation, because the hardcore fans said, I'm able to drop everything for this and do this because I have a little bit of advance in time. If we were to just drop it, they might be at work. People might be at different kinds of situation where you're just like, yeah, we'll get to it, but we can't right away. And even a day in advance, because we have such a hardcore community and people who care about Vertigo the Quick Serve games, we had people that were like, okay, cool, I'm clearing tomorrow out, or I'm clearing tonight out. I'll see y'all at midnight, that kind of stuff. So that was nice to have, but it's very circumstantial, and I knew we would get a ton of support because of the historical support that we've gotten in the past on releases, and financially and as a reputation and all that. I knew we could get away with it, we knew we could get away with it. So if it didn't work out, we knew that it would be something that wouldn't be a blight on Vertigo's name, anything like that. It wouldn't just be this negative thing out there. If it was nothing, then it would be nothing. A lot of times things are either big or they're nothing. There's no your thing's bad. Like, nobody cares about bad things enough to give them anything more than just being nothing. So the good
there
news
are some that are big and bad.
If it's really terribly bad, or it has high expectations and doesn't deliver, those kind of things, that's kind of a different thing. Yeah. But here's what I'll say is that if you release something to crickets, move on, because nobody cares, and the next project you do that isn't affected by that one is basically what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, in that situation, like, you don't need to worry about, I had a disastrous release. It's like you had a quiet release that just didn't go anywhere. It was a dud. But a disastrous release would mean your reputation took a major hit or something like that. And that's not the case for most games that just don't sell well. It's just like, it didn't sell well. You move on. You go to your next one. There's so many examples of good developers out there that go like dud, 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 hit. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to keep going.
So just one thing I want to clarify. from the PR perspective and from content creator, and that is generally this is not a normal thing to do. So again, you're claiming this more as not a commercial release. So for commercial releases, and from content creator standpoint, I would like to have my hands on a game if I'm going to cover it before the mass public gets their hands on it, first off, and secondly, honestly, enough time to actually make time to do it, because everybody's super busy all the time. Like, I have like 1,000 things that I don't do every day that I could be doing. I just don't have the time. So
and it's just in the context of like, this to us is like a student
this isn't
game.
The norm.
Is not quite a student game, but in the sense that it's like, we're not trying to get a bunch of hype behind it before we even know what we have. And so because of that, even though people might look at it and say, hey, the Vertigo Gaming, the Cook Serve Delicious devs released a new game and they put nothing behind it. And that, I get that perspective, but from our perspective, it was like, we didn't put anything behind it because we needed this to prove out on its, well, not just that, but we wanted it to prove itself first. Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously if it's a vital release to our company and it needs to make money, that's a completely different situation that we have to consider.
So just cautionary tales is all I'm saying. Just like, this is not the norm. So make sure that if you hear that, it's not we can do that. No, that's not.
Just if you're experimenting in a niche or a new, like, and it's not just like a genre niche, it's just a different, kind of game niche entirely in terms of how you play it, the mechanics, or rather the mechanisms that you have to use to play them, the platform, etc. Don't just, we don't have enough information to say this is like we need to fully put everything behind this and stuff. We need to see how that's going to go. And again, this is think of this as, a milestone that is still with more milestones to come in this kind of area for us, even if it's not this exact game.
Yeah, so I think even if you had that information, looking at it from that perspective of like not asking content creators to cover it, like it's more of something like a gift to content creators, and like this is something you can do with your stream. We're not asking for your publicity. It's just something fun you can do to mix up. We're not asking for any money. It's just kind of fun. We're all going to learn from it. Hopefully it's a new way to interact with your stream. I think that's interesting on its own.
Right. It's Bumpy's right that on a bottom line business level, it's not making necessarily the choices that you would make. It's just saying we have something kind of different here that we can. I don't think it was like we do think of it in some ways as like it is a marketing move, right? To release it for free, to push it out to streamers and say, let us know what you think about it, as opposed to just saying we're going to line up a bunch of streamers or get a bunch of codes out of people that we already interact with all the time and such.
And that it's Twitch, basically Twitch required. It is a game for streamers, almost exclusively. Which we knew was like, that's the one major thing that we were like, we don't need to push this super hard. Yeah.
Like, the platform itself is either going to carry it or it's not.
Yeah.
This is not technically a Steam game. Like, it's on Steam. You can download it from Steam. You can keep it in your library on Steam. But ultimately, it has nothing to do with playing it like kind of through the Steam platform. It's all through Twitch. So that was kind of what we thought of too.
You're about the game. Biggest, most important thing. Big banner. Twitch required. It's nothing's hidden. Just right there on the nose.
Yeah, right. Because we don't want to. Because and you see 7 user reviews. 6 of them are streamers, and one of them's like, I was actually just a chat person, but I wanted to download the game and leave a review as well. So we can't get a ton of user reviews either, because it's just limited to the people who download the game, which is the streamers. So and if they come on and leave a review, that's great and stuff. But again, we're not pushing for that. It really is. I think the mechanism that's driving it right now is Twitch. We understand that. Obviously, good to have it on Steam. Bumpy, we do get extra exposure from that, no doubt. But you have to be a Twitch streamer to go and download it, and or to have the call to action, I guess, to do it. You might if you don't, but yeah.
So it's a significantly smaller player base, essentially.
Right.
Granted,
exactly.
They all have their own players that are going to play, but people who are actually going to need to get their hands on the game and play it, it's a very small amount. I mean, there's, I don't know, out of all the streamers,
it's almost like thinking like PC gamers versus VR gamers, right? Like because
even more of a stretch between, but yeah, I know what you mean. You
know what I'm saying in terms of that analogy, and that we're not selling to the full PC audience at all,
right?
Like not even close,
yep.
Right? So that's something that we had in mind with everything as well. We're just saying, okay, let's see how this proves out. Let's see if this is just nobody wants this, and it's not necessary, and it's not something that it's something that we sort of thought people might want, and it turned out no. Then that's okay. You just kind of part ways with the idea, and you move on back to where we were before, or come up with new experimental ideas in different kind of avenues and such, because there are a lot of things are evolving right now, and different platforms are kind of emerging that you can do games, create games on, and then you can create games in new and exciting and different ways than what we're used to as well. And that's like kind of where this thing kind of came from. So it's off to a good start. Like I said, we're having good chats with potential partners in terms of like labeling and publishing, and potentially making more squad games. So it'll be interesting. We'll have to see. Nothing's official yet. We're just taking our time with those conversations, and for now enjoying people and people on stream, and like there was a Twitter video of a Life is Strange voice actor streamer playing the game yesterday. And it's like a 90-second clip of her just yelling at her chat the entire time, and it's a viral thing going right now. And there's a lot of 2021 things that Bumpy and I are too old for, like screen shakes and echoes and massive zoom-ins, massive zooms into the face. But it was good. It was really good. I'll share it in chat just because it's pretty funny. She does a good job. She does a good job just being insane and like not like too insane, but the kind of because I didn't really have a chance to talk about this with the game, but it's really cool because depending on the streamer, the vibe in the room is very different. Yes. We had some people that were like, chat, you suck. What are you doing? Chat. And you like, and they're not, and the chat's cool. Chat's ready to get beaten like that. You know what I mean? Like that's the relationship with that streamer. It wasn't, the streamer wasn't just being awful. The streamer was being themselves.
Yeah.
That the chat loves, right? Like the chat's looking to get the paddle in certain cases, the carrot versus the stick. So some of the streamers were really good at giving the carrot. Other streamers were good at giving the stick. Lots of yes chefs. Very fun to.
Hold on a sec. Tiny Disaster, could you throw out another like a call to action to get people to come to the stream if they want to be in the game? Because we'll start that in the next 5 minutes or so.
Alrighty.
And I'm gonna also tweet it out. Sorry.
So Katie Bentz was the streamer that covered it. I think was it last night or 2 nights ago, and then they. She's popular enough streamer that people clip her stuff, so she got a 2-minute clip, and it's great. It's cool to see these things kind of come out, right? Because you're wondering if it's even going to be out long, or if it's even going to stay afloat long enough to catch the eye of certain notable folks that can bring this to a bigger audience. Like instead of just, I mean, we're so happy that we have all sorts of streamers, big and small, getting to play it and stuff. But every time like someone who's notable plays it a little bit further out from release, it's kind of like it's just really validating. It's like, whew, like it's still people are still looking at it.
Speaking of clipping, I still haven't seen you clip my Pummel Party Super was it Super Saiyan mode you said I went into.
That was crazy. Yeah, we need darn it. We need more plebes. We need more plebes to clip that. Yeah, like where's June? Not to call him a plebe. June's awesome. June's just always there. So it's like maybe he could get going on it and stuff. Or that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It's out of context, Tiny Disaster, but we were playing a Pummel Party, which we talked about I think last stream, right? Like the Mario. It was the Mario Party at PC.
Yeah.
My gosh, Bumpy did something where Bumpy and I were I believe I was actually leading for a long time in
Yeah, I messed up early and I got knocked back like 3 times. I was like, uh-oh.
And everybody else falls off this thing, and Bumpy and I are just like, okay. And then we're like at the very end, and it's like the next mess up loses. And after about like 10 or 15, like we're just like going.
It's
like,
duck under or jump over is basically what we're doing.
And then finally, I have a slight mistake and I get knocked off, and I'm like, oh man, good game, Bumpy. And then Bumpy goes for another 55 turns. Like we were like all like laughing so hard. We didn't realize that if once you win, you can still keep going in your first place.
Yeah, I figured I would just keep trying just to make sure there was no psychological warfare from Cup. And
well, I was sad though because I'm like, I don't think he got any extra points for going like 900 times additional to the to everybody else and stuff. It was fun. It caused me to go all sorts of haywire and make all sorts of screaming noises, and we were loving it.
That's pretty good.
We were loving it. It was good. Yeah, somebody was really offended by how loud I was. And I felt really
it might have been you.
It was you. It was you. But he's still one of my followers on Twitch, so we're good to go.
Good stuff. You got exiled. So I'm not sure how many folks we have. It shows that we have 5 people on Twitch, 6 people total. So I suppose we could plus you two. I don't know if you guys count on Twitch. I don't know how that works. So or even if I count on Twitch, but we'll dive in, I suppose. Unless there's anything else that you had specifically you wanted to ask a Tiny Disaster. I think pretty much all the questions I had were answered as best they could be, because some of them were some tough gray area questions, right? So
I think for me, since I haven't played it yet, that's kind of what I wanted to do, to see if I had any other questions. So
yeah, we can let's play a game or two, and then we can wrap up with some Q&A or whatever makes sense if we have any more to go over.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I have you guys have disappeared off the stream because I can't have everybody. The world will end. All right, so I will play the opening sequence here, and hopefully I switched it. It's not on my chat on my thing anymore. Oh, the menu selections. Actually, hold on. I'm probably gonna back out. Yeah, I think I'm too far in. Oh. Sorry. Load game. I want to go new game. There we go. And then will it now ask me if I want to play the tutorial? Or is it just going to go right in again?
I don't know.
Oh. Okay, that's there. All right, well, I can just do it this way. Watch tutorial video.
Hi, I'm one of Julia, and welcome to Chefsquad. In Chefsquad, players work together to run a restaurant. The streamer plays as the head chef, and chat plays as chefs in the kitchen. Finish the day to unlock new foods, upgrades, and challenges. Sandwich! The kitchen has a number of stations based on what's on the menu. Each station can prepare specific ingredients. When the day starts, the streamer should drag a chef from the chef pool onto a station and tell that player what to do. April, let's do some hot dogs. Please, regular. And Molly, let's do some vegan hot dogs. If you're unsure what to make, type ! Which one, and the streamer can help you out. When you're on a station, type the ingredient to select it, and then follow the instructions that pop up to finish preparing it. Once you've finished, the ingredient will be added to the inventory, and your chef will be placed back into the chef pool. If Twitch chat prevents you from typing the key phrase, try typing any word after the command to bypass the filter. Should a player need to be kicked at any time for being AFK, the streamer can right-click that chef and do so. Orders will come in on the right side, and will have specific ingredients needed to make them. Everyone needs to work together to make ingredients for each order. A checkmark on the ingredient indicates it's been made and is ready to go, and a clock indicates an ingredient is currently being made. Focus on making ingredients without these symbols and ingredients with 0 inventory. Once the order is ready, it will have a large checkmark next to it. The streamer should place a chef on a final order station near the top of the screen to finalize an order and send it out to the customer. If an order runs off the screen, it becomes a bad order. Get too many bad orders, and your day is over. No! I believe in the power of the squad, and I know we can all do it together.
No.
Good luck, chefs.
That might have felt slightly forced, but I do feel it. I do feel it when we just fall short. All right, so I'll give some words of advice, even though honestly I feel like you should just hop in and play and just have fun with it. But if you are the streamer who's going to play, the thing that I found that immediately helped me from game 1 to game 2 was I was throwing people where they needed to be to do what they needed to do, but I wasn't telling them what to do, and then oftentimes people would double up and do the same thing. So my recommendation is take command, call out people's names, and tell them what you want them to work on. So, and yes, you'll be able to join Medical Cube.
I don't know if I'm sure it was just me, but because I guess how I've got it set up to hear you guys in Discord, I could not hear any of that. So if I needed verbal instructions, I don't know how useful I'm going to be here.
You'll be fine. You'll be able to hear me.
If you can hear Bumpy
ahead of time,
yeah, that's all that matters. You or if you wanted to, you could mute Discord and be a few seconds behind on the stream audio. That's kind of up to you. That's
I don't know why I can't hear my Twitch tab right now. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then in that case, just listen to Bumpy and follow the instructions. The thing is that
she'll need to actually. You need to be able to see your Twitch tab, if nothing else.
I can see it. I just cannot hear anything that's coming from that tab right now.
If you can hear Bumpy in Discord, you'll see yourself on Twitch, and you'll probably be a few seconds ahead of time because Bumpy will be like, "Do this," and you'll be like, "Wait, I'm not placed that. Now I am," and now you can kind of do it. I think that's all.
You'll see it like you'll be like, "Oh, okay, there I am." Yeah, it's a little bit, and I'm looking, and it doesn't look like, at least on my preview screen, that even with Restream going, that it's super far separated, so it should be fine.
Okay. Well, let's give it a go.
All right, we're going in, and yes, everybody in chat that's in Twitch chat
today, squad?
Is more than welcome to join. Unfortunately, we're already. Do we have level 2? Oh, okay, sure, whatever. You guys are going to be able to vote for pizza, burger, or steak. Use the exclamation point, and then.
Oh, that was really. There we go.
And then type the word, and you'll be able to choose. I picked soup as the one that I get to pick. There we go. So we got 2 steaks. We got a pizza. I would imagine that Exiled is probably on his phone or Xbox.
Yeah.
So.
And we do actually recommend people play this on desktop if they can, because the mobile the lag on the mobile. Just the phone is the thing. The phone, if you play on your phone or like a tablet, it's like a 15-second. It can be up to 15 or 20 seconds on the lag, and that's a big difference.
All right. How high can you go with the? Oh, okay. So 25 is the top, and then you can even go less if you wanted. Okay. What is the timer? What is that for?
That's just when you begin hiring. There's 60 seconds, but until you say that you're cutting off.
I will just do it at 30. I think that's fine.
Yeah, because they're just gonna say begin. We're probably gonna have like 3 or 4 of us, and then we'll.
It's gonna be exclamation point hire me or Reme or it's hire me.
Let's go,
Reme.
squad.
So to type exclamation point
hire me in chat, and then now we go. Go ahead and press exclamation point hire me.
So we got Medical Cube, we got Cupogoodness, Cupogoodness. I think I'm throwing F's at you for no reason there. A Tiny Disaster has joined.
I think you have an A instead of Kappa.
Kappa
Cupogoodness. Kappa Lapsta. And so that's probably it, unless Exiled or Zobi is gonna join in.
Let's suit up and
head out. You got the bots,
out.
okay. And you guys can choose whatever you want to look like. You can type exclamation point or random, or exclamation point like Q9 or R7 or S5 or whatever.
Get your cool little chef set up.
So I could almost do this myself, but I think my head would explode trying to do all of it.
I do feel bad that Tiny Disaster isn't going to get a chance to listen to the music. I hope she gets a chance to at some point. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's been playing in the background most of the time. All right, we're ready. So I'll explain, and a couple also dive in and explain if need be. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Cup's going first. I don't really have anything that I need you to do necessarily, so I'm just going to throw you up on
Let's wait, yeah. Or you want me to just start there? Okay, I can do that.
And we always need boiled water. I'm going to throw you on boiled water, Medical Cube, so... Alright, I'm going to wait with you, A Tiny Disaster, and see what's... Okay, I'm going to throw you on broccoli. So, broccoli is the exclamation point BRC. And just do that. Hope she works on onions. Oh, she's doing broccoli too. Alright.
Okay, I'll try to get back in the pool here.
Could you work on onion, Cup?
Yep. Oh no.
All right. Mushroom. Is that a thing? Yes. Mushroom medical cube. Oh, right. I forgot I have to click my bots to make them do stuff. Whoops.
All right, at Tiny Disaster, you need to put exclamation point, and then what does she need to do? What do you want, Brock?
She can do. Hold on, throw the bot up there. She can do the herbs.
So you do exclamation point HRB, Tiny Disaster.
Yes.
What do you want me to do?
You can do cheese or do cheese. Medical
Chaz.
cube do the sausage. Okay, she's getting there.
It's me. And if you mistype Tiny Disaster, you just have to retype it essentially to redo it. I've mistyped it many times.
Not quite.
Need that herb from Tiny, and
All right, there you go. You can serve that one up.
there we go.
Take the prep. All right, Tiny Disaster. I want you on the PCT over on the left-hand side there. Medical cube up onto the onion, and I can throw the bot there.
Oh, cool. We're gonna have another player on our next round if we want to play one more. Zobi's back.
Ah, good.
So let's please.
Good job.
And nice. Back
Go
in,
squad.
back in the pool.
Cup. Back up top.
Back up top. Ready dish.
Medical cube onto the PCT as well on the left-hand side. Looks like we're gonna need another one of those.
Squad goals.
And so our job, Tiny Disaster, is to get through our tasks as quickly as possible and get back into the pool.
All right, you're back up top, Cup. So you're my server apparently.
Yep.
And
Get back
Tiny
in the
Disaster,
pool.
you're cooking the steak or whatever it is in the top left, the TBN, T-bone steak. Yeah.
Because the best thing you could do is be available.
Little cube, you're going for the
Complete.
broth.
Let's wrap it up, squad.
Bot, you're gonna go through and help. Do that. We're gonna get onions from this bot.
Perfect.
Order done. Pro strat that might work for you, Tiny Disaster. Throw an exclamation point in ahead of time. Just have it sitting there, just waiting.
All right,
I
Cup
think we're
up top.
close here. Okay, serving.
Bone applet.
Hang on.
Oh no.
Nice food.
All right.
And
You guys
serve
can
it
play.
now.
You guys can play around. You
Yum.
botlings.
I think we dropped an order. Just one, I think.
Another
dropped
day
two.
Maybe
completed.
We dropped two? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. We
It's
could be okay.
It's okay. What is that supposed to be? Just burnt food, I guess.
Just this was not. This didn't work out. This one.
It's just. It was supposed to be a brownie. It looks like a half melted chocolate bunny.
He's
So-
supporting.
Any questions before we move completely forward? Tiny Disaster.
I don't think so.
Okay, so I stuck you places. You start off with the 3-letter thing with the exclamation point, and then multiple new ones pop up. All right, so
I would suggest
What do
Tiny
you think, Squad?
considering muting the Discord and trying to. Or wait, you said you can't hear the Twitch.
I
You said
cannot.
you can.
here
Okay,
I'm
never mind.
gonna do something for you guys. Give me a minute.
You can stream to
yeah,
Discord.
I'll stream.
That's great, yeah.
It'll be
That
easy.
would help, Kelly, because then you'll be able to like get all the beeps. And
You guys
loops.
can vote for the sandwich.
So I'm
or
getting
hot
the
dog.
sound ahead of everybody and then the video
But-
a little later. But
But you can kind of you can actually watch
Yeah, you
the
don't have to
Discord
watch.
stream
Yeah, you don't have to watch.
and then
the
type
actual
into
stream.
Twitch, right? So you could actually
It won't matter if you just watch the Discord stream and you
yeah,
have
you'll kill
Twitch up on
you'll
the side.
take away
of the
your
chat.
you'll take away your latency issues exactly. See, this is what I was missing. It was so weird playing it without anything.
The music, yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Hot dog wins it.
what dog?
Wieners.
I forgot to vote because I was focused on the wrong thing.
All right, I'm gonna save and quit here in a minute.
Thanks for playing.
And there's our splash.
Yes, and I ran away from it.
Oh, it's okay. We'll see it again.
Willie. All right.
That's the good thing about Good Splash.
All right. I'm going to go pizza this time.
All right.
That's
well,
my
then,
choice. You guys got steak, hot dogs, burgers, and soup that you can choose.
Steakums!
So it might be easier for you, A Tiny Disaster, to pop out the stream so you can see it a little bit bigger. I don't know if you have two monitors.
I do. I'm good.
So you can have chat on one and the stream on the other. It's all good.
Well, that's annoying. I ordered food 4 minutes ago, and it's going to be here in 4 minutes. That's too fast. That's too fast.
Jonathan Gear on my heart forever. He's a big fan of that.
Shout out. I know I have a couple of. I know we have a couple of Cook Serve community members in here today, and that's just awesome to have you all join us. That's very cool. Squad it up.
Get hired, folks. Get hired. Jump on in there. Let's get to it.
Our community is one of the best. Just really supportive. No toxicity whatsoever. If the toxicity starts to creep in, it gets shown the door, and I really enjoy that about our community.
I've made it to what did I tell you? I think that was 199, or did I go over 200? I can't remember. 199 medals in Serve Delicious.
3.
Like 193 gold at this point.
In 3, right? Yeah, 3 is.
So I'm slowly becoming less bad.
Hey, Quintuple G, get in here! Exclamation point, hire me if you want to.
Exclamation point, hire me. Come on.
We'll see if he.
Come on, 5XG.
He might be lurking. He's probably working. So
or
all good if you don't. It's cool. I think he's busy, and it's no worries. I didn't mean to be like, get in there now. You have to.
That's it. You're gonna have to go back to your other name.
Stream.
Don't get me fired. You're going back to that name now.
Don't get me fired. Yeah, I love that. Okay.
All right. 10 seconds to finish up your customization.
What if we random into the same person?
You randomed into the same person? Oh,
yeah,
no.
we did.
You guys are
That's
twinsies.
Okay, though. Twinsers.
All right. We're starting in 3, 2, 1. Medical cube. I'm just going to throw you on the water again. Boiling the water. Tiny Disaster. I'm going to have you do the pizza crust. And Cup, I'm going to wait.
Sounds good. Put me on the. I was gonna say, put me on the table if you want.
Yeah, I'll put you on the table. You do the sausage or hot dog, pepperoni. You do the pepperoni and the cheese for you, Gazubi. And my bot. What am I gonna do with my bot? Well, make a patty or something. Look at Cube on fire, man. Good job. All right, tomato for you, Medical Cube. Tiny Disaster cheese, please. Okay, sorry. I lost my bot.
That was 2 exclamation points. Tiny Disaster. Oh no, yeah, you got it. Preloaded. I know where I'm going. I'm ready. Wicked. Oh, get me going.
There we go.
There we go. Enjoy your food.
Medical Cube, you're up there too. Zuby, you're going for broccoli. Maybe nope, you're going for onion. Sorry.
Excellent.
Tiny
Fast
Disaster.
server in the West. Let's go.
You're gonna go for the pizza crust again. Cupogoodness, you're gonna go for cheese.
Cheese, please.
And yeah, there we go. And we're going for the pepperoni with the bot if it wakes up.
Yes, chef.
Tasty.
Tiny Disaster, you're gonna go do the serve up top. Let's see here. Bot 1. Put bot 1 on the patty. Medical Cube, you're gonna go on the old cabbage or lettuce, I suppose. Cup, you're up top again.
Squad.
Zuby, you are on the tomato. Sorry. Tiny Disaster, boil me some water. My blank chef bowl. Help, blank chef bowl. All right, I keep forgetting. I gotta click on my bots to do extra stuff. Curse you, bots. Bot, do things. All right, Cup, you're going for broccoli.
Took a slight Twitter look there, and I was going, wait a second.
All right, serving up there, Medical Cube, A Tiny Disaster. You're going to be on boiling again. Zuby, you're going to be on broccoli. And Bot is going to probably be on onion. Cup, you're on serving again. Whew. All right.
Cooking.
Tiny Disaster, you're going to be on cheese, please.
Okay.
Bot, you're going to be on that. Medical Cube, you're going to be on pepperoni.
Go, squad, go.
Cup, you're going to be on the patty. Double patty? Is that single or
Oops.
double? I think it's single. It was single.
Okay, I did single. My bad.
No, I think
Okay,
you're,
good.
I think
I'm
you're right. Cheese, please, Zuby, and
wrapping up the
lettuce, please, for Tiny Disaster. All right, Bot. Get you Medical Cube. You're back up on serving again. And then if you guys finish everything, we got to get one more serve, and
Way
we're
to go.
done. Very nicely done, folks. Very good.
I'm gonna go grab my food then if we're done. I gotta go.
Yes.
Stay chopped up really.
Oh, well, I'm going to toss Cup out of the way then. And Tiny Disaster, you get to do the final serving.
Nice.
Good job, folks. Well done. Yeah! Yeah!
Tasty.
Ta-da! We did it. 9 orders
Perfect day.
completed.
Wonderful work,
0
Nice.
squad.
chores done. Ingredients prep 28. Chefs rotated 38, and no orders missed.
Yeah, no chores yet, so that's why there's chores done 0.
Yeah.
Because there's no chores yet, so
Yep.
that's not a problemo.
So, initial thoughts after 2 games, Tiny Disaster, now that you've actually got some hands-on experience with it.
A lot of fun. That is a really cool idea.
Yes, I
It's
agree.
yeah, it takes me back to my 7th grade typing class.
Subject for typing class, exactly.
Like you're just like trying to bust out the word as fast as you can without messing it up, and then a couple times I did mess it up in that
Handle.
last time. I was like,
What?
no,
Trash or chores. Trash. That's hard to say in like a
rush
in a
chores.
singy voice. Trash chores is what I want to say every time, because you want to combine the two. Trash chores. You have to really stop yourself. All right. Cool tip. You can change the prefix for commands, and instead of an exclamation point, it could be like wiggly. Cup. Sorry.
You could put a lot. That aside, Bumpy.
What should we
You
put
put
for
a
squad?
lot of accessibility. They put a lot of accessibility to this game.
Yeah.
The programmer, our programmer Daryl, and our designer David. So it's.
Vote. 20 seconds.
We also have. I don't know if we saw that earlier or if you displayed that to Tiny Disaster Bumpy, but there's
I'll
when
show
you
it.
when you load the game, the streamer is told, hey, you can put your camera here.
Yeah.
You
I'll
can put
show
your
that,
chat
'cause
here.
That's something that no other game's done that I've seen, and I very, very much like it. This will probably be our last run through, and then we'll have any kind of
Little
Q&A
wrap up.
from chat
Yeah.
and whatnot. So, all right,
Got about 10 minutes left. Sounds good.
Time to squad up.
all right, hire me, folks! Exclamation point! Hire me! Jump on in. Cupogoodness, Tiny Disaster, Zuby, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. It's just kind of a thing I do. And Medical Cube.
There's a whole series of videos of just parody of people trying to say people's Twitch names in chat. It's like
It's rough, yeah. All right, I'm gonna say we're done hiring. Let's get to it. We have Cook
Suit
Away
up and
Bot
head
1. Bot 1's like, this is who I am. I'm Q6. What?
amazing.
Poaching eggs in perfect time. Chefsquad.
There's no reason Jonathan Gear had to go this hard for this song, and he did, and I just love it. Makes such a big difference for this game.
It feels like I don't know. It reminds me of like a spy theme or something. You know?
It's supposed to be kind of disco, kind of Bond. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
All right. Let's see. We're gonna have trash this time around. So let's get to it. All right. I'm gonna throw you on hot dog, Zuby, Tiny Disaster. You can go on to the T-bone. Cup. I'm gonna put you on the table. You just wait it out. I'll let you know what. And same thing with you, Medical Cube. I'll let you guys both know what I want you to do. Cheese for Cup, onion for Medical Cube.
On it. Yes, chef.
All right, and if I happen to miss something in chat because this game is very unkind to chat, apologies. I'll put the bot over there. All right, Tiny Disaster Mushroom.
Yeah, you learn really quick as a chatter.
Zuby, you're on herbs.
That you cannot get much. No one's going to pay attention to what you chat during this time.
Yeah. Onions for you, Medical Cube.
Go squad.
Cheese for you, a Tiny Disaster. Gotta get my bot moving. Cup, you're on tomatoes.
Got it.
I hope it chooses the right one this time. It's doing the wrong one. Zuby, can you get me a double patty? My bot seems to not. Oh, now it's doing it, of course. Tiny Disaster, you're serving. Medical Cube, you're mashing the trash. Cupogoodness, you're on lettuce.
And there is a way to get Zuby off of that next time if we wanted to.
Yeah, just finish up whatever you got there. Yeah.
It's easiest to just go through it, but if you know what to do, you can always pull them off. If you go, oh wait, I need to cancel what they're doing and move to somewhere else.
Oh, you're good. All right, Cupogoodness, you got that cheese.
Yep.
We'll need bot 1 will go to the hot dog.
Playing on the Discord stream is basically cheating.
Go.
It is.
You get such a head start.
Zuby, you're up top, serving it. Cupogoodness, you're on cheese again. Tiny Disaster, you're on onion. My bot is being dumb.
Never too
And
much
by
cheese.
dumb, I mean I keep forgetting to do it. We're putting a bot on the meat. Medical Cube, you're on the mushrooms. Cupogoodness, you are back on onions. Tiny Disaster, you're up top to serve.
Excellent.
Zuby, you're on hot dog.
Tasty.
All right, bot's gonna do whatever bot's gonna do. Cup, you're back up on serving. Tiny Disaster, you're on onion. Medical Cube, you're on tomato.
Yum.
Okay, goodness, you're gonna be. I'm gonna throw you on steak. Zuby, you're on order serving. Tiny Disaster, you are going to be on mushroom. Medical Cube, you're on herbs.
Let's
Condiments, as I prefer to call it. The bot is sitting there doing nothing because of me again. Cup, you're back up on serving again. The bot is hopefully going to do the onion or something. I don't know what it's going to do. Tiny Disaster. Not sure what I'm going to do with you yet.
Good job.
I think we're going to have you as our final server.
It really can't be understated.
Well done.
Or excuse me, it can't be overstated how much Jonathan Gear contributes to how well our games do.
Oh yeah.
In terms of when people like with Crooks Are Delicious, the music being good helps. But with a Twitch game, when you have like streamers like loading up this game for the first time, and everyone's putting their like the cat bop going on like the stream like and stuff, you're like, this is a welcoming situation to these people to this game because Jonathan's made such good music. So it's just such an awesome thing to have that as an advantage.
You guys can vote, and then we'll probably break it off and switch back over to the other stuff. So you guys can do the voting there. I'm going to kill your live stream footage on Discord so it doesn't screw the cameras up anymore.
Because Indie Bros related Tiny Disaster and I are working on like a massive deadline thing for a potentially new client. So when we're done in the next 5-10 minutes, that'd be good because we got to get back on it, unfortunately. And fortunately, work's great. I love work.
Work is great.
Yay!
All right. Un momento, por favor. We're going to close the voting. Looks like Hot Dog wins it.
Hee.
I know.
Wieners.
All right, folks. Thanks for stopping in and actually playing. So, again, there's our splash screen. We have Cleaver. We have Whisk. Hashtag Team Whisk all day, every day. Just saying. And what if Julia here stirring the pot? All right, let's switch back on over to us.
Thanks for playing.
You're welcome for playing.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining in. That was really cool. Like it's always it's just so fun, right?
Yes.
When you work on a game and you get to play it with people, it's really cool.
So thank you guys. Sorry it's not gonna be any longer, but you know, the time has come for us to kind of draw any close. Now, what you guys can still do, if you're staying in chat here for a little bit, if you have any specific questions you want to ask, we'll try to keep it maybe one per person. If anyone has specific questions to ask, Cupogoodness is the project manager at Vertigo Gaming who created Cook Serve Delicious 3 and Chefsquad. And you came on board at the end of 2? Is that correct?
Oh, when we released 2, yep.
Yeah. So there you go. So if you guys have any questions, great. A Tiny Disaster, you just got your first experience, really, and you already kind of gave us your thoughts. Was there any new questions that popped up from it?
I'm trying to figure out how to word it. Of like, what is, in terms of Vertigo and like next steps for this? What kind of feedback are you hoping to get, and like how will that shape where you want to go? Of like, will you tweak kind of the game style moving forward, or like what are you looking for right now?
Well, right now, obviously, like the big thing is that we have business partners interested. So that to us is like, okay, cool. This is getting some legitimacy in ways that we were hoping it would, but didn't necessarily expect it would. So we're having those conversations with people right now. With that comes stipulations or maybe more accessibility to what we can do, because if we get budgets from them or things like that, then all of a sudden we can invest a little bit more of our time and effort into this if, say, someone else is fronting the development costs for us. So that's kind of the conversations we're having right now. If that takes place, then you can expect probably more, stream-related games and probably squad-related games under our name, under Vertigo Gaming. I don't think we'll ever, we might have a publisher or a label, but we'd never turn over the IP that we've created so far to anybody. It would still be Vertigo Gaming's IP going forward. And so lots of different ideas in the hopper in terms of similar games we could do based off of what we did with Chefsquad, and games that would be like a squad game but be a completely different genre. We've had a couple of write-ups on that we're having conversations with people about. Monetization-wise, in-app purchases, there could, of course, be skins, or maybe you could get specific... we're talking about maybe having a mode where you would be able to design your restaurant similar to CSD3 and 2, where you could design your own food truck. You design your food truck in 3.
It's true.
Right, and then in 2, you actually, in 3, it's much more about the trinkets, and in 2, it's much more about the furniture and the everything else. But there's a lot of different dressing and stuff.
Yeah.
And so with the squad, we could do a thing where... I don't know. There's just different ways that we could go about it. Some of it feels a little, I don't know as much about if it's an acceptable thing. Like, I mean, one acceptable thing that I don't know if is necessarily I feel is acceptable is that we could make a monetization situation where chat is buying things for the streamer, because that just seems to be a natural thing. Chat wants to buy things for streamer all the time. We could lean into that. But I mean, I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I like to support that in the first place. It's a weird dynamic, right? When strangers buy strangers buy things for people. It's just kind of a weird dynamic. I'm not sure how I feel about how I come out on that. And I don't know if I necessarily want to encourage that, or if we want to necessarily encourage that as a studio, because that is one of the things that I see kind of regularly on streams, but it doesn't always feel quite right, Bumpy? I mean, there's just there's a dynamic to it that you're going, it doesn't cross a line or anything, but someone might be expecting of something if they're providing gifts to somebody else, is what I'm saying. And that doesn't make any sense for that relationship. Yep. So it's something that we talked about, but we were like, do we want to do that? Does it make sense to do that? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, do you want to perpetuate what's going on there already? Again, it's not necessarily a negative thing. It's just something that's sort of it is a thing that's happening, and that we can see is readily happening on Twitch. And that's something that is like, that's something that, we could cater to potentially with these kind of squad games and stuff. But I think mainly what we're looking for is to get continue to get validation in the space, to know that, that people want games in the space, that streamers are looking for more games in this space to interact with chat with, and chat is looking for more games in the space to interact with their favorite streamers with. If that we keep kind of making those confirmations, we're going to keep kind of pushing forward, and you'll see the budgets and the kind of the results get bigger. I think Chefsquad is really elegant for what it is, and it's actually really I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I really just think with the budget we had, we did a really good job, with what we had. but we could have a bigger budget, and that would allow us to do more total things. You know what I mean? Like increase not just the quality of it in terms of like bringing it up a little bit more with the extra money, but also like different kinds of mechanics, different ways that chat could interact beyond just what we've done so far.
Yeah, that's where like I'm really impressed with this, and I'm so excited to see where this space goes. Like part of why I love social media is because it's a way to build and have community on your phone or your computer, whereas this is turning games into more of a community builder, and that's a really cool space. So I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, games can be made in basically any kind of way, shape, or form, and can be put out there in like just such a variety of ways. And it is great to have the traditional games, but there's all these untraditional spaces that are like ripe for not gamification necessarily, but like like that's a different kind of thing.
Gamification, because as someone with ADHD, I live for gamification, but like gamification of relationships almost, or interaction, or like it's adding a new dynamic, and it's going to evolve and do things we don't expect, and that's cool.
Yeah, I suppose gamification just comes with a negative rap sometimes because of some of the bad parts of it, or some of the bad examples of it, or the examples that aren't necessarily thinking about uplifting humanity, uplifting society and stuff. Like, but there clearly are utilities for this that work in the right direction. So you're right; it should be called gamification. It's just that like I feel like I've created it as a bad word in my head over the last several years because you're like, oh, I don't want to gamify. It's like everybody's trying to gamify everything. You know what I mean? Like big corporations.
I'm all for it. Gamify all the things. Maybe not from a corporate standpoint, but from
that's what I mean. But like, make sure it's like when I play this, like KFC or Dr. Pepper game, I'm not just wasting. It's just like, why does this exist? Like, what are we doing here? That kind of stuff. So that's the kind of the difference to me is that I want people who are gamifying spaces to actually be really quality and good people. Well, quality good people, but also great at their jobs. Designers, developers that are making those games. That will actually further us, I think, as a society versus like the idiocracy path that we might be able to take if we don't watch ourselves too much and stuff. So there's a balance.
Basically, you want people to, if they're going to gamify things, to, be someone who wants to make a game, not make a profit, essentially. Sure, profit's great, but like, hey, I have this thing, I want to make a game out of this, whatever. And that's their first and primary goal. And then, of course, obviously you want to make money off of that. But
I feel like it's that, and then you have to have thoughtfulness on how this is going to impact people's lives as individuals, right? Yep. Like, you don't want to negatively impact people's lives. Like, and I think that you might be like, oh, they might just get super obsessed with this, and that's a positive thing. It's like, is it?
Yeah.
Is it really a positive thing if they get like, really into your game to the point of where they're starting to do, it's like, you got to be careful with that because I think we're at that point with a lot of these games now out there. It's like these loops, right? The daily challenges, things of that sort. Yeah, it's this thing that's like it's getting it's boarding. I mean, it's like it's up to us as individuals to police ourselves, but they're doing everything they can to psychologically like get us to continue to come back. Yep. Continue to put in more hours than maybe we should be putting into games. Not speaking about anybody in this room, Bumpy, about like a game called like Hunt Showdown or anything on anybody, but like the point is that like there's mechanisms at play here that bring people back to games again and again, even if they're like, should I even be playing this? Do I even feel like playing this? So it's like
true way outside of gamification, because like my brain went to like Pokemon Go and a friend whose still like getting up in the middle of the night to like go check out a spot nearby kind of thing. But like Pokemon Go essentially gamified going outside and was a lot of good, but people got a little obsessive like they would with Pokemon games. Like
there's always extremes that you have to be careful of, I think, and make sure that you're not falling into. And if there are extremes in terms of players, make sure that hopefully that those are on like a minority of people, as opposed to like, oh no, we have a lot of people that are going too far with this and it's affecting people in a negative way. I don't think that's a little bit heady stuff. I don't think most of the games that people are going to be putting out there are going to be affecting society at this kind of level. But like it's just it is something to consider as a content or product creator. What you put into the world, how is it going to, how are people going to interact with it, and how are individuals going to enjoy it and what that means for the future and stuff, especially if you're getting into like new tech, or you're diving into essentially like areas that are just now sort of opening up or becoming a little more ubiquitous, etc.
I think we may have found a topic to talk about in the future.
Yeah, potentially.
You guys seem quite eager about this one, so write that down.
Whereas Bumpy's like, you guys have work to do. Wrap it up.
I'm like, you guys have work to do, and I need to try to screw my head on correctly because my neck is killing me. So we're going to break it off here. Thank you, Cup, for bringing the insight and allowing us to ask all sorts of, I want to say good questions. We'll pretend they were good questions, and kind of getting a little bit of insight on how the game was designed, the philosophies behind it, the choices that were made, and basically kicking the baby out into the world and hope it survives. That was kind of the philosophy. So
well, and thanks for humoring me. We didn't have to do this at all. You two were accepting of the idea when I put it out there, and I really appreciate that. And I feel the support of this, and I hope we had time well spent.
Well, it's one of those things. Tiny Disaster and I both agree that mostly through the Indie Brothers and stuff that we do, the discussions we have, we're seeing it more through a PR lens, content creator lens on my end, and there are some game developer stuff that you bring to the table on a day-to-day basis, but again, it's a much smaller percentage. So to be able to dive more deeply into that side of the game industry was a nice change of pace, I think. So.
Yeah, there's probably one, maybe 2 games a year that I have this level of insight on versus, the dozens that we end up working on that I end up, getting my fingerprints on. So there's a little bit extra here to discuss, and I'm glad that we were able to do that.
All right. Well,
absolutely.
If anybody has anything else, speak now, or we're gonna break it off, and I'll give you guys the rundown of what we're doing next week.
And just thanks to everybody. Nice to have some new people in chat today. It was really fun, and we appreciate you jumping in.
Any final thoughts of Tiny Disaster?
I've already said my big final thought statement. I'm good.
All right, we're good to go. Next week, we're going to be talking about your Steam page post-launch and beyond. What all that has to do, it's kind of just continuing with our Steam page optimization talk that we've talked about 2 times before. I think this is our third dive on in. So,
I think I did my notes ahead of time. We'll see. If so, yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, that'll be it, folks. We'll see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, as they say. It'll be 3 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday right here on the Indie Bros PR or YouTube channel. I don't actually have the link for the YouTube channel, but just follow us on social media. It's the easiest way to figure out what we're doing and when we're doing it. And that is at Indie Bros PR. And until next week, I've been your host, Bumpy McSquigums, joined by Cupogoodness and a Tiny Disaster. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.